Yes. How's that? That's not. Good evening, Bash. Today, hello, Sai. Yes. Yes. No, it's not mine. So, hello, I think it's also actually we have this one factory. I have not read you all, and I said that I have been around 1996. This is been by the way, 81, 83 batch. And Sandy was my student in 2001. But now, as we see, we have seen that technology. So now the first session, everyone learned a lot, Sandy. And I'm very, very happy. First of all, I'm very happy. Very happy having you. And I'm feeling very enthused.
Second, we're going to work on what are the real life examples of some of that also today. We've got some gadgets, we've got something to play around with. But considering we've got a large number here, not all will be able to touch, right? So the third part is interaction. Those who will interact, those who will maybe ask some was
किसको बज रहा है? Yeah. No. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Good. Okay, so just to quickly introduce Network Science. Network Science is a 4.5-year-old organization. Started in London and then moved to India. Now we are spread ourselves in Dubai, very soon in the US and in Singapore. The focus of our organization is to change the world with deep tech innovation. Deep tech is an umbrella term being used for technology advancements like AI, machine learning, robotics, blockchain, augmented reality, and more. So rather than using these individuals, it's an umbrella of technologies or advancements that is called as E. So what we do is we work with organizations in helping them change the way they run their business. Because in today's world, we cannot run the business the way you've done for the last 20 years. The world has changed, the expectations of all of us have changed, and hence organizations also have changed. So we focus on that and work very closely with organizations in that change journey, in that innovation journey. But before we do that, one of the important aspects that we ourselves have to undertake is to educate and create awareness about AI. Because there's so much going on in the market, on YouTube or otherwise, in terms of what AI means. Now, may I request the 50 people who raise your hands, we need to give a definition of what AI is. Yes, I've got some two of them. Hi, sir. My name is Varun Karya. Just hold on, maybe you want to. Person, sir? Yeah, no, we'll pass that on. It's quicker. Hi, sir. My name is Varun Karya. In the layman terms, the definition of AI can be a simulation of human-like behavior or simulation of human nature or behavior, which is done in which is done by the computer. Okay. Okay, you have to write the answer. Yeah, sure. So it's a very good answer. I'm guessing you got this from Kevin Ali. Just spoke about this very similar concept. But yes, but good. Yeah, good on it. Little louder, please, and your name is good. So AI research founded in Dartmouth College 1950. After that, the Jhansi team created machine learning to 21st century of the career. After that, Elon Musk launched AI subject support. So, okay. This out of curiosity, how many of you know when you first started interacting with AI? Any just raise your hand and answer. When did you first start interacting with AI? Anyone? Yes, sir, my evolution. My actually around the chat GPT by 10. Okay, so November 2020, 2020, yes. Also, my name is Sven. So my first interaction with AI would be automated chatbots around 6, 7 years back. Okay, where was that? Amazon, Flipkart, Amazon. Okay. Anyone else? Hi sir, my name is Karthik Ashit. So my first interaction would be using Google back when it was Google Assistant or Galaxy. So, I'll ask you to take a couple of steps back. Everybody has had a very similar first interaction with AI, not the one you all mentioned. AI has been changing the world and changing the industry for decades now. This is the first time you're interacting with AI knowing that there is a game. The moment you created an email account, your interaction with AI started. The way your intelligent search works, the way you have predictive text. How does predictive text apply text? Very interestingly, predictive text comes because which you call you in business class you would have all studied about Enron calling and all, right? Right?
So the emails of Enron were used by Google to train the predictive text. The initial forms of NLP were created by taking email text data of defunct industries, and especially industries which were being investigated and were going to be closed. So that's why all these things you've been interacting there for a much longer period than you actually believe. Only you didn't know it was AI. Yeah. So AI is not a new thing. It's been there in the world for a very long time. The gentleman I just gave a nice history. Interestingly, one of the most fundamental algorithms for AI was called a feedback mechanism, a feedback loop, right? That algorithm was invented in the 80s. Everything that machine learning is built on, obviously it's evolved 20 times more, was built in the 80s, so it was first designed in the 80s. And then even before that, people have tried it. Even tried an AI chatbot in the 60s called Eliza, which was a therapist, if you can imagine. And it had a very good result, like even in the 60s, because people were back then at least, even today, I would imagine, quite predictive. You can predict what a person. Okay, let's get back into the session. In the next slide. Oh, thank you.
Nikhil, is there a way now, right?
Hello. Okay, is this better? All right. No. Everyone can the back can hear me? Yeah. Let me introduce Nikhil to everyone, right? So it's important also. So Nikhil joined us about 3 years back, but he has a very illustrious career in the innovation space. Nikhil worked very closely with DBS, right, in Singapore to build their innovation labs. And he also worked for Globes, which is the big movie box retailer from the US, in their innovation journey and created their innovation labs, which are futuristic. So obviously both these labs are looking at what does future look like and how can that be adopted by these companies. One is a retailer, the other is a bank. And that is the learning that Nikhil has been bringing on the table for network science and for our customers. So that's the pedigree that Nikhil brings on the table. But more importantly, he also demystifies it for us. Right? So it could be sometimes becomes very, very it's not direct because you just don't know what we are speaking. The jargons and all that can really take over this subject, but he will demystify it for us. And I hope if anyone is not able to understand, I hope that you guys will raise your hand and ask those questions. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Show of hands if you know what the settlement is. Actually, show of hands if you don't know what the settlement is. All right, good. So, yeah, so that's some profound words around what AI is expected to be. People have to call it, make very grandiose statements. The reality is somewhere in the middle, at least for the near future, and somewhere way beyond in the past of what the impact of AI is going to be. Anybody who says that I know exactly that this is what AI is going to be, nobody knows. It is changing too fast the world. When you're saying that we understand what AI means, I don't think any of us can really claim, at least at our company, we do. Because the more you know, the less you know, and we've studied almost every day, and every day is something new. We keep reaching the limits of what we need. Right? So that's where we are with AI. All right, let's get into demystifying AI. Right? So AI, just break up the word for me collectively. So artificial intelligence. The interesting part of this phrase, which is this collective of words, is intelligence. So what is intelligence? Yeah. Hi sir, my name is Virat. So intelligence is the ability to learn from the repeated process and performing different functions in the same environment. Ability to learn. Okay. Anyone else? Can we learn? Keep in mind these are not target, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. My name is Shamrati. So adding on with that, adding on my friend, so ability to learn and think creatively.
Think creatively. Think. So learn and then think. No, not yet. Okay. Right. Sorry, my team messed up. All right. So yes, so think is one. The third one. So their ability to understand. This is very important. Now, this word understand is going to become even more important the more you study generative AI, because understanding is actually not really what AI does in today's world. Right? Anybody knows how generative AI works? Anybody has a semblance of what how generative AI works? Wrong answers encouraged. Brownie points for funny answers. Yes.
Yes, sir. I wish I'm like this. I think generative AI works in a manner so in the extent of AI. So when you want to you get a prompt or input to the AI and you generate a text or images or anything. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's an input given by us.
Right. That's what generative AI is. That's what we see as an input and output. What about the under the hood? Do we know how it works a little bit? Yes, gentleman in the back.
Hi sir, my name is Rishikesh Metangle. So in generative AI, the machine, the engine has been trained on a large scale data.
Okay.
And whatever prompt we give it and analyzes the words that we have put in,
Right.
and based on that it predicts what kind of answer we might be expecting.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Predicts. Round of applause for gentleman. It says generative AI predicts the next word. When we are speaking, are we predicting what we are saying, or is it coming to us? When we speak, we understand the context and we give out. That's why the word understand is very important. Certain types of AIs actually try to understand. A lot of the AI that, for instance, the gentleman here was talking about, you act upon. So, what is the output of an act? Sorry? Regenerate or generate something. Close enough, close enough. Okay. Can you get the last one? It says to create. Right? Intelligence allows you to create. Your washing machine cleans your clothes. Is it creating? Does it understand it? It's actually does creating. It's creating the clothes. What it's not doing are the first three steps. Right? So, creation on its own does not mean it. A 3D printer creates. But unless you make it a transformer, it's probably not going to do anything. Right? It can only do what you tell it to. So unless you have all these four steps, you're not even in the realm of AI. However, there's a fifth step. So yeah. So this is no problem. So these four steps or these four aspects of intelligence or AI is, while it looks very simple, this is the most profound way of understanding what AI is. A system or an engine that learns, that understands what has been fed to it, then it started to think by itself or by the rules that it has been fed with. And ever since ChatGPT came into our life, started to create. So till ChatGPT was in our lives, AI was able to do learn, understand, and think. Imagine this as we as human beings, right? When we started as babies, we started to learn hand gestures. We started to learn, what does words mean, right? So we started to first learn those words. We never knew what that means. We started to learn those words. We started to walk.
Then we started to understand. If I do this, this will happen. So I started to understand the action and the reactions. Then we started becoming, we moved into a stage where we also had our own mind, our own ways of doing it. So we started to think ourselves. And now it has gone to the fourth stage, where of course, as human beings, we can also create. We can create music, we can create art, we can create a speech, we can create things, right? That is what AI is now about. So AI is a system that learns, understands, thinks, and is able to create by itself using certain prompts that we give to it, and it is able to create. This is the level of AI that we have reached today. If you talk to a whole lot of AI practitioners for the last 20 odd years, they felt that the create stage for all of us, it may have come in the labs, but for democratizing AI, for all of us, would have come 20 years from now. So hence, the world is in so to speak, quote unquote, shock, because suddenly with ChatGPT and so many other platforms, we are able to create. We are all completely dumbfounded, saying, how is it even possible? How can someone create a cat from a simple text, or create a movie now from a simple prompt, right? So that stage of creation has already reached, is where we are at this stage. This stage of fourth stage, of the create stage, is also going to evolve further. It's going to change itself further. It's going to evolve a lot more over the next 10, 15 years. But what is the fifth stage? Right. Any guesses? Any guess? Yes. What is the fifth stage? Sorry, anyone?
Hi, my name is Vijay Saulagar. The next stage may be evolve.
Evolve into
According to the context of the world changes or the way the economy changes, maybe adjusting to the data it gets.
Okay. Okay. Adjusting. Okay. Yes. What is the fifth stage? Hollywood boss, Bollywood boss.
So my name is Hardikar. I think the fifth stage would be to conquer or take the
Okay. Maybe call that the seventh or eighth stage. There are a few more in between. Yes. Yeah. But I like that. Yeah. Okay. What he said is indicative. Is indicative. Correct. Yes.
fifth stage would be to
Right. To create itself, to evolve itself. Okay. Let's just talk about this. What is the stimulus for it to keep on? Yeah.
Initially, right now, it's our
Right.
let's say to be without a prompt.
Okay. But there's always some prompt, right? You have to, like you yourself, when you're doing things. You're not just doing things because you're a robot. You're doing things because there is some internal stimulus or external stimulus that is making you do things. What would it be? Brilliant. That's what it is. So it's consciousness. We call it self-awareness, right? Or sentience. So what happened? Okay. Anyway, it is sentience. So that's perfectly correct. So movies, right? I mean, there are so many movies. That's exactly right. Awesome. So when you look at these 5 stages now, and this is the fifth stage that we only can imagine at this point in time, right? Possibly when AI takes over the world, as our friend said, maybe it will be the 6th and the 7th stage. But the 5th stage, which was supposed to be in the minds of AI practitioners and scientists, it was supposed to be 100 years away. Because the 4th stage has come 20 years in advance, now they're saying, hey, come on, you know what? There is a possibility that AI could become self-aware 40, 50 years from now. So possibly in our lifetime, where AI will have the ability to give their own prompts, right? So The stimulus is there's something happening, they are adjusting by themselves, they're making their own decisions, they are deciding by themselves what is right and wrong, and doesn't need a human prompt. That is what the fifth stage is expected to be, possibly in the near future. Hopefully, it gets pushed out as much as possible, but with the advancements that are happening, it could be very, very complex. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, the iron. Yeah. So, there would have, okay. See, beyond the very fundamental thing you would have heard in marketing, the incentive. Everyone's incentivized to buy something or not buy. All our actions are also driven by incentives, some form of an incentive. For an AI to commit suicide, there would have to be an incentive to do so. So there are 100 stories written about what those incentives can be. There are 100 stories written about when they do and when they are push humans into committing. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the future holds for something like this, but it's a very interesting thought experiment, right? Are we ready? Yeah. So let's move on to the first. I want to break these 5 steps down a little bit more. I don't think it's visceral enough for us. Right? It's learning, understanding. We all hear about it. It's fairly simple. So, what is learning? Okay. Okay, cool. Yes, good. So, what does everyone see collectively? A. How do you know that this is an A? I'm sorry? Pattern, you're saying a pattern. How do you know that this is an A? This kind of looks like an H as well, right? Right? So how did you say that if somebody just said, asked you to pick what this is, what would you pick? A or an H? A. Why would you pick an A? I'm sorry? The line was not top of touch it, right? But an H written that way, if this was the beginning of HAVE, would you have still called it an A? Would you have read it as an H, right? Why? Sorry? Context. Great. The context is coming soon. But we've all learned that these are all A's because we have generalized a label. We've all learned about a label, something called an A, the letter A, and we have generalized that label. Now, that label can be just a label or a value or a pattern. I'll give you an example. I don't know if many people are massive cricket fans from the old days, but 9996, does the number mean anything to anyone? 9996. Yeah. What? Bradman, exactly. Who knew Bradman? Right? Yeah, okay. What was 9996? Exactly. Batting average, right? Exactly. So I didn't even have to tell you, I told you cricket, I told you 9996, you understood what it means, right? It's generalized. You've generalized the number, you've associated specific information with a specific thing. That is actually how AI is also learning. When it's talking about images, it is understanding that this is what this image is. This cluster of patterns a million times over tells me that every time this comes, probably this is an image. But quite often the same image can appear quite different. For example, if you think about it, a spoon and a shovel look very similar as well. How does it know it's a spoon? Is because of what you said next, which is context. Right. So here is where the learning. When we say AI is getting trained by data, you hear those things. Right? Someone also used we train AI models with loads and loads of data. It's ultimately what? It is the ability for it to learn. So we're feeding the AI systems with hundreds and hundreds and millions of data points so that it learns what A looks like or an H looks like or a spoon looks like and associates that image or that letter with that context. So whenever I see something like this, it means an A. That is what learning is as in the AI world. So when someone says I'm training, it's actually this, what you just saw. Okay, moving on from learning, Unless there's somebody has any questions on learning. Anyone has a question, please raise your hand. Huh? All right. So, moving on from learning, what does everyone see? Can you be a bit more descriptive? Yes. Parallel lines, sorry? Slanting lines. Anything about the color? Red line. There's just lines, and there's a lot of epithets around lines. Yeah? Okay. Next. What about now? Now, what do you think? Spoken and the minute hand, right? Did the meaning change when you added something? Right? What did you add to it? Context, exactly. So you added a lot of context, you added specific information. How about these two sentences? I was right to, can you guys see this in the back? Yes. I'll read it aloud again. I was right to avoid a suit against Apple. Man in suit on my right was drinking apple juice. Yes? Right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Right? Okay, the reason this example is really important because just a few years back, I'm talking about 3 years back, 4 years back, both sentences would have gotten you very similar results on a Google search. And Google search is also an AI engine, right? The fact that it's able to contextualize it to this level, to very specific levels now, is because the engines are getting better and better. But this, just a simple context differentiation, required years and years of learning and training. To give you an example, OpenAI, when it was started, it started in 2016. People just took it, oh, they started doing this, and now every year a new company came up. They went through 6 years of experimentation. They, in fact, focused only on text and generative AI-based generation. After a paper came out in 2017. So the actual work would have probably started in 2018. It took them 4 more years of constant training and direction to be able to just make the difference. But the moment you can get here, you can get 10 times more. Right? So understanding is very, very different. But like the gentleman said, it is not really understanding, it's just predicting. How is it predicting? It's predicting by creating what we call vectors. It's putting weights on vectors. So in this context, when this something else comes, this word has a probability of being right. So that's why the first versions of GPT were giving us output, but it was just giving us sentences, slightly contextual, but very, very quickly it's become so much better because its understanding of context is getting better. It's the biggest leap generative AI has taken in our lifetime of working with generative AI has been in the space of understanding. Yes, creation is a big thing, but the fact that it could understand context more and more, better and better, then now that it understands that if you are creating an image, human cannot have 6 fingers. How do you recognize what the 6th finger is? Removing those in stable diffusion. All these things have now come because the understanding layer has become better. All technology layers for AI fit in these 4 or 5 layers. So the understanding layer, the context layer is something which is being improved on. Yes, any questions on this? All right, next. Right, so this is just recap of what I said. Okay, now thinking. Yes. Okay, what's that? Google Maps, great. Anybody know what this is a map of? Manhattan, great, this is Manhattan. So this is a hypothetical chart from, say, downtown down to Central Park, right? Next, this is your start. That's your end state. This is where you have to go. Now to make every decision, this is your current state, right? This is where you are. You know, this is where you started from. You move up to here, and now you have to your end state. How do you get to your end state? Especially in a place like Manhattan, it's all grid, right? Now, no, you have to take an action. You take an action up, left, right, and down south. So weightage will tell you if you go down south, that's the longest it will take you, unless there's no traffic there right? Possibly, if I can give me a more direct path, but I don't know whether it is direct enough as it is. Maybe I'll go straight. Right? At the next stage, it does the same evaluation. It is constantly evaluating the weightages on the options it has. So even in tic-tac-toe, you have a current state, you have your possible actions, and then you pick one. The algorithm that defines what step you take for this and this is the same thing. Fundamentally is the same thing. Playing tic-tac-toe is fundamentally the same as giving you direction on Google Maps. Only Google Maps has like 1,000 layers of weightage and intelligence and inputs on top of it. But ultimately, it is an AI algorithm trying to figure out what are my options, everything that I can possibly do, and what is the weightage for each one of them, where is the weightage the maximum or minimum, sometimes you want to minimize range. So you're moving that. Yeah. This is when thinking is happening. Because every time you take an action, every time you touch something hot, what do you get? What? Louder, louder, louder. Sensation. What is the sensation? In robotic terms, what is the sensation? I talked about it before. Stimulus, it's a feedback. You've learned now. Right? So right now, in the last 3 months, Google Maps has been coming under a lot of criticism for giving terrible credit. Right? Because a lot of new routes have been coming up, especially in India. A lot of roads are getting closed because the coastal road is opened up. So Google Maps has been giving us their directions, but they're not as optimal. Give it a few more months and it'll come fine. But needs that quantum of data and some number of people using it. So every time you add a new piece of information, Google Maps is trying new things. That is what this is. Right? That is how it would think as well. That's how that whenever you add new pieces of information, the really guy goes to hell, you know. Or any machine learning algorithm, you add another data field to it. It does not know what to do with it. It starts giving you very random results. But then the more you train it, the more you use it, the more you give it feedback that this is right, this is wrong, I like it, I don't like it, it starts giving you better and better stuff. If you remember, the first version of GPT 3.3 and 3.5 had a like with this entry or with this line. Now it doesn't do that, but it did earlier. They were doing that to basically get that feedback from the system, whether to put greater weightage on this kind of response with the parameters that went into that output. That makes sense? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So simulation is the same thing. So, right. No. Right. So what we have understood here, if I just break it down into two parts, you have knowledge and you have people. Knowledge is knowing my options, right? What are the feasible actions in the current state? In my current state, I have to make a decision to do that. That's how a robot would think. Humans are a bit more instinctive with this, but ultimately, whether you are using a system one way of thinking or system two way of thinking, you are thinking, you are evaluating your options. When do bad decisions get made? When you don't evaluate all your options and you just move instinctively. Right? When do you get stuck in the Elphinstone signal? When you realize that it's 7 o'clock and you still decide to go on that road, which is what happened to me so many times. Right? So you have to basically understand all your options. Knowing all your options becomes that much more important. And reasoning, what is the optimal action from among the feasible actions? What is my weightage for this? Now, it sounds simple, the calculation behind this becomes that much more complex, but ultimately it is coming down to what is the most optimal result. Quite often that result is, 0.51 versus 0.49 for another thing that you do. And the moment you get a feedback, the 0.51 can become the 0.49 and the 0.49 gets updated to 0.5. You understand?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And the last part, creating. Move to the next. Yeah. I was going walking in an empty parking lot. I safely returned. A very, very boring story, if you can call it that. I walked through a parking lot. I hope meetings from safely. But there are very curious words that have been used. Why return home safely? Why would you use the word safely? That means there was an opportunity to be unsafe. I was walking through in an empty parking lot. Why was empty parking lot there? Said. Right? Why were all these extra words and adjectives given? It's because you're giving a system more information and giving it a nudge to create something, right? So, in DPT, if you ask something to write a story like this, this is from 3.5. I saw a suspicious man. I turned and ran the other way. The man started running after me. I ran across the record. The man took a jump. I returned home safe. Suddenly, there's anxiety. There's a bit more oomph to the story. Yeah. How did DPT know to create it? Sorry? So what do the adjectives do? It give it more context. There has to be some safety means if you're using the word safety. And it's not like safe, using the word safe is itself a dangerous thing, is it? I am safe. Is that a dangerous thing? Yes, because when you say I am safe, you don't walk around saying, oh, hi, I'm safe. You don't say that. You call upon security only when there is a possibility of an insecurity. So never take things just for face value. A sentence is not just a sentence. There's a lot of things that go behind every sentence that comes out. And generative AI, machine learning, all the methods of AI, CNN, they all have some meaning behind whatever, whether it's a word or an image. And every small element that you're adding to it is changing the weight of what is going to be created. It is adding to the context. What AI has been able to do is understand this massive mammoth of context. Just this would have probably used up 500 tokens to create easily. Which is a lot of compute. There's a lot of compute. There's a lot of brain power that's going into that. So actually, one of the next challenges we're going to have in the future, and it's actually kind of coming up now also, is how do you bring down that compute? How do you make the compute simpler for companies such that the token costs are not going to? I'm sorry, I just use a whole bunch of jargon. It is just for you guys to go into rabbit holes. I'm not going to go into these definitions, but I'm happy to afterwards if anybody wants. Yeah? Okay. So, the dual language model really understands. This is what I was talking about earlier. Does it understand what suspicious means? Does it understand what category means? Safety, parking law, with humans. Right? We discussed about this, right? It understands these words, it understands in its own way. Does not understand the way humans understand. So you have to train it. When you're training it over and over again for it to give you an output which is good enough for you, if you're not helping it understand the way you understand, you're just helping it create the weightage. It doesn't have a feeling, it doesn't have a mind, it has numbers yet. It doesn't have a feeling yet. Yes, correct. AGI would be another level, yes. But currently they have not been able to figure out the emotion. Yeah. Some interesting experiments that I talk about which actually allude to what Dandy just said of the yet, which were actually shut down. One of them was my favorite is when Google, I believe, was running an experiment on natural language processing before generative AI. And they just trained a couple of bots bots on English and a large corpus of data dictionaries in English. And it asked it to just chat with another bot, which is trained in a similar way. It started writing language in a very different way. It started writing English, which was mostly correct, but it started saying, for instance, I remember one example was, I want 5 apples. Instead of saying I want 5 apples, it said I apples. Because computationally it was better for it. Okay? It freaked the Google engineering team out. Absolutely. How did it understand to do this? It was mostly correct and it would did this, and the other agent understood what it was trying to say. Why did that happen? We don't have an answer yet. That's one of the challenges, especially with generative AI. We don't have an understanding of its inference patterns. How it infers, we do not know yet. There is also a very known case which Sundar Pichai himself has mentioned about this. Where he mentioned that the system was trained on 10 languages. So there was a system trained on 10 languages. You could ask the questions on any of the 10 languages, and the system will understand which language you are referring to and will respond to you in that language. Suddenly, someone asked a question in the 11th language. It was not trained on. So what is a normal system expected to do? No response, right? Normal system. But here, it actually responded in the 11th language. No one really knows how. Now that is the creativity part of AI. That apart from it generating something that we are asking it to generate, it also started to generate something that we don't know how and what is the basis of it. The sense that people have got is it knows how to learn. So it knows how it was trained for the earlier 10 languages. So it learned the 11th language on the fly. So that is the power that we are dealing with at this point in time. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one. Yes, wonderful video. Oh no. Okay.
Well,
Can you start
at
again?
least in contemporary terms, it is. I am not Morgan Freeman. What you see does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
The deepfakes is real, right? It's no longer only for the Instagram pieces. Now, what happened in Hong Kong? No one knows about this. Had someone heard? Okay. So what actually happened was there was a message that went to a senior finance person of a very large corporate, asking that person to transfer $25 million to a particular bank account, which was not the company's bank account. And this message came from the CEO of the company, just like how messages have currently gone to my team members. Now, this person got suspicious, just like how my team members did, and he said, "Hey, come on, there's something wrong in this," right? So he ignored, or he raised the question with the IT or whatever. Sometime later, again, the CEO said, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm telling you to do this. Why are you not doing it?" And he says, "No, there's something wrong." He said, "Okay, I'm sending you a Zoom link, just like how we are on right now. And there are 5 individuals on the Zoom live. CEO, CFO, head of marketing, head of HR on the call, seeing him, and this guy is, oh, you know what? There's something wrong. And he, of course, he said, hey, Sandy, I told you to transfer 25 million to this account. Why are you not doing it? We are into a very important meeting and we got to have this done. He, of course, sees everyone on Zoom. He transfers 25 million. And then he gets to know that it's all deepfake live on Zoom. So the world is, this world that you're talking about is, of course, as moving very, very, very fast. Right? So as fast is our understanding of how AI works and how we build AI systems, it's even faster the way it has been adopted by the dark side. So that's what AI is at this point in time. We'll just take a quick pause, a 2-minute break, get some feedback from the group. Have we now understood AI?
Yes.
The ones who had raised your hands, the 50 members who had raised your hands, what you saw, is it similar to what you thought it is? Or it is very different? Sorry?
Yeah.
A bit louder, please.
Many more layers. Many more layers.
With many more layers. Okay? Anyone else who does not agree with this? Yes, sorry.
This kind of
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Anyone else? Now, the reason why this definition, this may not be a definition. We're not claiming that this is a definition for you. This is, when someone says what AI means, you got to understand these 5 steps. This is what AI is all about. How you present it, how you articulate it, how you communicate it, how you use it for your own work. Now will depend on how much of this is you are able to understand and communicate to your team members as you move into your corporate life. So I hope this has made some sense, has helped you understand it a bit more deeper, as you said, and we will be able to use this easily. So learn, understand, think, and self. Even if the 5th one you want to miss it out and say, hey, I don't want to care about it right now, it's fine. But at least you need to know the 4 aspects: learn, understand, think, and create in that sequence for us to know about AI. Okay.
Show of hands for the quizzers in the room. People who are part of the quiz team. Okay, you have 3 hands. I imagine you all take tests here, right? You all have assignments. Yeah? Yes? Yes? All right, those are also some forms of quizzes. Yes, you have a question. No, you have a question. So, we're going to play a quiz game. But it'll be a different form of a quiz. I'm a quizzer too. I used to love quizzing in college, even after me and my friends still do quizzes. But this is a slightly different form of quiz. We'll be showing you case studies of how companies have implemented it. But it's like with a quiz. We'll show you the problem and we'll show you where that AI was used, but you have to tell us how. You have to put on the hat of every CEO, CIO, CTO that you can think of and say, what would I do in that? Yeah. What's interesting is there are 8 questions and all. 4 of these case studies are global case studies of companies from all over the world. And there are other 4 which are case studies implemented by network. Right? So you have to sort of try and think how we thought about the problem. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Right. So yes, sorry, rules. Okay. Very important. Every quiz has a bunch of rules. Anybody shouting the answer will be disqualified unless I point at it. Yeah. The first hand that I see going up is the one I will pick. Yes. Only one. If a person's got the answer, they cannot answer again.
And there's a reason why. Because the winners is anybody who answers will get an opportunity, should they choose to pick it up, to directly interview with network science for an interview. Right? And we already have the project in mind of where we want to put them, some really fun things to do. Tons of awesome stuff around AI. Right? So, keep your thinking hats on. It's a lone wolf for the quizzes, a lone wolf. So everyone, there are no teams here. Everybody is answering individually. Everybody understands, right? I ask the question. Wait for me to finish the question. Put your hand up. The first hand that goes up is what I pick. The first hand that goes up that I see, I'll try to stand as back as possible. Don't miss the end. All right. Question one.
And all the quizzes that Nikhil runs, he says something. He is the god.
Oh yeah. I am the god for the next half an hour or so, which means that my word is unimpeachable. And yeah, any objections in this case would not be decapitations per se, but you'll be absolutely anyway. Yes. Moving on. So starting with our own case study, very wonderful network friends. PDM, perfectly done. Show of hands if you've heard the name. Right? What do they make? So PDM, the makers of Superchops, Alpha-Libre, Mentors. For us, it was Alpha-Libre Mentor. Have vast and varying types of products, all requiring different ingredients. Managing vendor RFPs and proposals is a big challenge, as managing every cycle of inventory can take weeks or sometimes months. Keep in mind, many of you are going to get jobs in these kind of CPG companies. Right? So vendor management, raising RFPs, getting those RFPs, reviewing RFPs, very tedious job. Good chance the company you go to has not done what we did. But you're going to have to go through these documents over and over again. Just when it seems impossible to streamline the chaos, AI steps in. What once took months to entangle, AI obliterated in mere minutes. Which AI tool did network science to solve this problem? So there are two parts to this. What AI tool did we use? And how did we do it? Just some talk me through how you would do it. Imagine this is an interview question. And before that, have you understood the question? Yeah. Everyone has understood the question. Awesome. Fantastic. It took me 10 times. Okay, well, sorry, I use the term RFP. Everybody knows what an RFP is? What is an RFP? Request for proposal. Great. Yeah. Fantastic. Now, anybody has a guess on how we solve? What's the AI tool we use and how we solve? Yes, the gentleman in the back has something.
Maybe a forecasting model was created.
Okay, and what is the tool that we use? Sorry, you're next. No. AI tool. We are in an AI workshop. Anyone? No. Okay, these are not trick questions. This one, when everybody knows this tool, is why we are asking. No. And raise your hands. Any guesses? How many tools do we know? How many AI tools do we know as a group? Can you name some tools? Power BI, okay. Tableau is okay, it's an analytics tool. Tableau, yeah. I'm sorry, ChatGPT. Complexity. Think corporate world. What would the corporate world do? Sorry? Yes. Microsoft what? So who's that Copilot? Brilliant. It is Copilot. So, your name? Number. Great job, number. So we use Microsoft Copilot. So this is one of the few times we actually use an off-the-shelf product from a big company. Typically, that's not the model that we use to work in, but we realize there's a big market in this space itself, where we use existing tools and repurpose and build products on top of these tools. Because there's a massive opportunity within the prompt engineering world which people are not harnessed. Right? So that's what we did. We created a module on Copilot, which we are now replicating to intelligently automate the entire RFP process, from RFP generation to automating email responses to once they get the solution, get the proposals, coming up with an evaluation methodology in Excel to then evaluating it, come up with a ranking methodology, using that ranking methodology to pick the top three, and creating an automated presentation all within 4 minutes. The whole process will run in 4 minutes. And here we are talking about earlier, if we just go a slide back. Here we are talking about they managing 2,000 vendors, and the entire RFP response process that they had was taking 127,000 person hours of effort. Because it's such a complex process, right? You have to manage 2,000. So when you eat an Alpenliebe or you enjoy an Alpenliebe or a chupa chups, there is sugar in it, there is salt in it, there is other ingredients, the current. All of this is sourced from various places globally. And for them to source it, they have to release an RFP. It may be going to the same vendors that they have been working all this while, but they have to do it on a regular basis. So they send an RFP, then the RFP will be responded by 100 vendors, then they have to collate it, they have to identify the best ones, and then create the document, create presentations, recommendations, and then finally say, hey, okay, I'm selecting you to do this job. Go ahead. So all this process for a large organization, this is the size of opportunity that we're talking about. Add to it the dollar number of person hours, it's in billions. That has been disrupted using AI or Microsoft Copilot, by saying, hey, 80% of this process or 60% of this process is now being done in a manner that is automated. Click of a button, workflows written, click, 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 it goes, it learns, it creates, it sends, it recommends, and it's all done. Of course, there is human element to it once all this is done, where you have to put certain aspects about whether it is, whether it has gone through the right data points, has given the right recommendations earlier and things like that. But that's the power of what is getting. So most B2B solutions in AI have this concept called human in the loop. Because especially with generative AI, we're never very certain about what we're getting. We always need a human checker. Earlier, humans were the creator. Now we're moving from the paradigm of being a creator to an editor. So in the maker-checker paradigm, humans are moving from being a maker to a checker. That's the big shift AI is bringing, especially for the B2B world. And slowly, the effort is only going to be on checking, not even on any part of the creating. And that will continue to reduce because the AI keeps training itself. Only up to a limit though. After hitting 95%, maybe the effort of improving it to 97% is not cost effective enough to actually do that. So these are small elements you're going to have to figure out later on. Well, that how much do you want to improve here? But even in this case, there were places which really surprised us and so perfect. There were places that actually gave us slightly wonky stuff, so we had to edit. But AI allows itself to be edited so much faster. Yeah. Okay, great. So So the point is, how many of us now understand this piece very well? This is one function only we spoke about. For a large organization, one function, which is procurement. Even in that function, one process, which is vendor RFP response process. Of course, a very complex environment. One response, size of opportunities in billions. Now use it to create a very different way of running the. That's what we have, and this is still, Copilot was just released now, 6 months back. Imagine what it will do as we enhance that capability. Please.
I'm going to play probably a devil's advocate.
Sure.
So, just now, as you said, that AI is now being from creation to checker.
No, AI is taking the role of the creator. Humans moving the check.
From
Yeah.
Now, if I use an analogy
Sure.
of an auditor, for example, auditor is a checker. Yeah, auditor is typically a checker, and there is someone else who's doing it.
Right.
It's important for the checker to know how it is created.
Yes.
For the checker to be able to identify what got created was right or not, what was left over out of what was created, or what needs to be created but which was not understood properly.
Right.
Now, there is a paradox. For a checker to master those steps, humongous effort is required. But what technology does, it creates an opportunity for you where you don't have to make those efforts. So, what are we going to learn now?
I'll try. Okay, this is a very interesting question that you just. How do you train the next generation of people who are going to become the checker itself, right? It's something which a lot of people are going to struggle. Now, let me break it down this way. Any photographers in the room? Any people who have photography as a hot hobby? Yes, gentleman in the back? No, you're just okay. No, well, okay, you're a photographer, right? It's as a hobby. You have a DSLR or that, right? If I give you film, can you convert a film into a photo? Like a red room kind of thing? No, right. You can't, right? So that's what the world's moving. The skills required to do what the world was in the past to what it's going to become is changing. The role of people, yes, there was going to be some amount of lag in how people learn and how all that training is imparted to you. But what you'll end up learning need not be the fundamentals. The concept of what a fundamental is itself will change. Just as the way photography has changed. Photography is one of my favorite examples. If you went back to the 60s and 70s and how the greatest photographers the world has ever seen, right? They didn't care as much about the shutter speed. They were capturing, for them it was the lens. So it was about how long is the exposure. Yes, exposure and all are still, but it's almost recommended today. You already know it. You don't have to know the fundamentals as much. So the burden of knowledge is rising for what the fundamental should be. And there is also an interesting case of this. Do we know that I think New York Times has sued ChatGPT there? I think New York Times, right? Yeah, because they are saying that you are taking over the role of a media. Because you are basically giving away the news that is actually held by us, or we are the source of it. So they are saying, give me the source of your information. And ChatGPT doesn't know the source.
Yes.
It doesn't know the source. It is being fed with tons and tons and millions of data points. It has synthesized to the data points and created its own thinking layer and created something out of that. So if you ask it to go back and trace back, now how did you come up with this 5 lines? It doesn't know. So the point
That is what is dangerous. Right?
Correct, it is. Yeah.
So that's uncontrollable.
Correct, it is. So hence the role of in the human is not to go and trace back, but can't trace. When you write a prompt, and with that prompt you get a 30-minute movie gets made, Hollywood level of movie that gets made, it doesn't know where it picked up the images from or where it created it from. It can't give you the source code. The whole point is, how do you now use this situation and still get trained and still actually use it in your favor? So we always say it is not that AI is going to take away your jobs. It is someone who uses AI is going to take away your jobs. So if you don't train yourself, if you don't understand it well, possibly you will be in a disadvantaged position. All right. Okay, moving on to the next question. Ooh, I like this question. Show of hands, number of engineers in the room. of course. Computer scientists, a few CS guys. Not really much. So you guys had data structures and all that. Keep all these things in mind. Okay. Cherry Sprite launched in the US in 2017. It was a massive success. However, the success of Cherry Sprite was not a surprise to the company. How did the company know that the product would be a success? Now, keep in mind, I put a massive.
Get the question at the back.
I put a massive burden of proof on the word no. They were sure that this cherry price right would be successful. How did they know?
You get answers only for the back.
Yeah, I see. The first answer, one was a prompt and one was the answer. Rows on the front rows. You have to go back, go to the middle and the back. Come on. Yes, gentlemen.
So the company must have a lot of data that the cherry flavor is liked by the people.
Okay.
Different companies trying out the flavor. And finally, for the company, ratings of the product in the cherry flavor have confidence that
Right. So there's still a level of uncertainty. Because price is a separate thing, cherry flavor is a separate thing, we are not very sure about that. But there's a level of uncertainty. Yes, people like cherry, but there's a level of uncertainty. How did they remove that uncertainty? Yes, tell me.
they might have done the survey online and collected the data.
Moving on. That okay. Talk more about it. What data is there? No, cannot give it to you. Gentlemen in the back. Lovely answer. Nothing to do with price point, but no. Fantastic answer though. Yes. Yes. Sentiment analysis. No. Sentiment analysis will always give you a probability. Right? And you're not going to have 100% certain. This was either 100% certain. Yes. Okay, nothing to do with competitors. They knew it for their own sprite. They knew it for their own self. The cherry sprite will be a success. Yes.
How the existing consumers are searching for a cherry sprite.
A cherry sprite. How did they get that? That's the fun. Get focused. Get more creative. Get more focused. How did they know that this is the one? That's forget. How? Okay. Forget this question. How did they capture that data? What's the most absurd way of capturing the data? Yes. How do they collect that data?
Cans in the trash.
I'm sorry?
Cans in the trash.
Very, very inventive. Good. I want you to think like that. Inventive. Finish your answer. Okay, where are they getting the drinks from? Retail? No. No, nothing to do with market demand like that.
Maybe by rapid testing.
How do they do the product?
Guys, these are very standard.
I'm really walking you guys through the answer. How do they do the product?
Maybe going to places that large crowd from take that.
Yeah,
Every company does it.
think out of the box.
Does every company know that they will be successful?
No? Then from the back. Yes. No. No. Guys, think creative, man. You got 20 odds. Get your creative this. No, people have already get free samples, predictive analysis, sentiment analysis. Data including keywords. Strong support system. I didn't know they were depressed, man. No. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm adamant. I know that you're going to walk to the answer. Now, keep saying. Now, let me walk. What are the facts of the case here? What do we know? We know that the company knew that this product would be successful. We know that they had to collect data first. All the things that you mentioned, there's a level of unpredictability. How did they remove the unpredictability? How would one remove unpredictability from a set of data that this is what people do? It's on trend. How would there be it be on trend?
People are already purchasing flavored sodas.
No, not really. There's still a lot of unpredictability. No. So I'll give you another hint here. You are circling the answer with doing product testing. You're circling the answer, but it's not product testing. Yes.
So, like even Coke has a good Coke cherry, which is also successful. So, just following the footsteps of that.
Provenance is not the answer.
Maybe they analyze how many people are having cherry along with the Sprite.
I'm liking the way this guy is thinking. You're so close. Think product testing. Think what he just said. You're very close. If nobody gives me a better answer in the next two responses, I'm going to give it to him. I'm sorry?
Share of the market.
No. Again, unpredictable.
Exists the alcoholic beverage that uses cherry and sparkling juice.
Nick, no more. Yeah, yes. No.
Sell on cherry.
Sorry?
Cherry boxes sell on cherry.
No. It absolutely has to be certain. They were certain that this product is a bang. I'm sorry? Health factor. No. Okay, I'm going to have to give it to the gentleman in the back. Great answer. They got people to do product testing, and by getting them to make the soda, they put the Coke freestyle machines. These are special vending machines where you could mix Sprite with any flavor that you wanted. So they got the data not just for cherry Sprite, that Sprite is most like, even the concentration, the cherryness, what they wanted. They got the exact formula that people like. So when they sent to the market, they knew exactly who their audience was. What is my audience? It was a $20 million sale they were going to make. And how much are they going to make it? What is the sweetness they want? What is the cherryness they want? They got the exact formula by getting people to make the formula. Yeah? So this is a great example of machine learning being used for product development. Right? Okay, next. Very well. Great answer. What's your name again? Great, thank you. Next. Okay, this is again mental science case study. On visiting Myntra's online skincare section, and instead of scrolling through endless products, the website itself looks second. Myntra unleashed an AI-powered experience that does something no e-commerce site has done before. How did AI manage to not just enhance the shopping experience, but completely redefine it by becoming a virtual skin expert? Anybody, do you all know of Myntra, yes? Yes. Show of hands if you have the Myntra app. Excellent. All of you now are an advantage. But if everyone has an advantage, no one does. So, try and get that advantage. What did Myntra online skincare do?
So this is
Yes.
where you can actually also use your mobile phone, see the Myntra app.
Cheat away.
See,
Open
open
book exam. Yeah.
Find out what.
Very close. I'm going to ask you to improve your answer.
Customize the products for
No, wrong part of the thing. Gentlemen in the back. So if you're scanning your body, what did you do after scanning your body? Analyze what? Think non-technical. What did it do?
No, recommendation, yes, recommendation engine is not new. What did it do specifically? Yes, definitely.
So I guess identified problem.
I'll give it to you. It's not problem with the skin quality. It analyzed your skin quality from the image. Now it wasn't. This is not just image processing. This is another level of computer vision. This is beyond image processing. This is image recognition, pattern recognition. After training on hundreds and thousands of photographs of people with the same kind of problem, and then using that knowledge to understand. Okay, it is kind of horrifying when you go. Let's do that. Why don't you use your app? Open your web. Yeah. Got the results? Give you products. Yeah. What name? What name from? No. Little freaky, no? The score it gives you. Looking for my wife to get a clear this terrible at this point. So now, but it's a pretty cool product. Okay. Right. The size of opportunity for that is $12 million of additional revenue. The revenue wasn't available because at that time you were basically giving a catalog and someone used to come. You need to know what you're buying. Here, you're actually particularly. It's called BEX. If you ever get a chance to try it, don't. Terrible. But they did have a very interesting new version of BEX that I would actually want to try. It's called BEX Autonomous. There's a little tagline here which might be hard to read. But I'll put it here. The beer that made itself. Now, the person who can give me a satisfactory answer of what is the meaning there, there's hidden information. If you can tell me what is the funda behind the beer that made itself, gets a special opportunity for what's coming soon. Yes.
Not very sure, but definitely probably the variables were fed to the AI and it was asked to how much level of fermentation will be required,
Sure.
the amount of yeast, and how much period of resting day will be required.
Okay. Can you extend your answer? Right behind you.
Hi sir, my name is Varun. I guess they have followed the same as how Cadbury Dairy Milk is made, how the beer is made. They would ask the consumer how it is, what would their preference, and then integrate AI with it and
Next.
Hi sir, my name is Pratik Singh. So I guess the nine autonomous they are using something like ChatGPT to create the brand name and performance.
Okay. The beer that made itself, every word is very carefully chosen. The beer, because the beer that made itself is a very heavy burden on those words, right? Marketing is all about burden on words. It's all about when you're talking about a tagline, there's a lot of thought that goes behind the tagline. The beer that made itself. Anyone, any guess? How did it make itself? How did Vex Autonomous make it? The name is Autonomous. Yes, tell me. AI was. Yes. Can you repurpose this answer? Oh, sorry. Yes.
Beer itself, they can repurpose it to the how the beer. Result of course will
No, again, I'm going to be very adamant. I need you guys to give me the answer, or at least close to it. Very, very adamant. I need you. Okay. So, beer, what are the things that you need to make a beer? Okay, there is, let's call that a recipe. What else do you need for a beer to be in the market? Packaging, sure. Branding and advertising. Okay, good. Now, based on what I have said, any responses on how the beer made itself, gentlemen in the back, who raises hand? Okay, right next to you.
I think they made the recipe using ChatGPT, and regarding the logo and things like that, they use Midjourney to create the let's say the
Okay. Extend your answer a little more.
for context.
Extend the answer. The beer that made itself, you're 50% there. One more thing it did, but very critical. Okay, I'm going to give it to you, someone else.
The brand name, the strategy, the go-to-market strategy was probably used, was devised using AI.
Fantastic. Combining the two answers, that's what we have, including the packaging specifically. So what they did, so Bex had, AB had over 1 million beer recipes. They obviously had a lot of consumer data. One place he got it slightly wrong was they wouldn't have used GPT for this. Because GPT is not very good at data analysis. It's getting better, but it's not very good. You would use machine learning for this. Yeah, you use machine learning to actually for it using the peer. Okay, how do we promote? They asked deeply about the use this for young people in this age. How would you promote? They came out with a marketing strategy of using YouTube influencers to marketing. The whole end to end from creation, the ideation to creation to go to market to the way you were branded, end to end was created using artificial intelligence. So internally, if I give a little bit of a secret away, this methodology of changing your full company workflows into an AI-driven workflow is something what we do for our clients. We try to change the full workflows into one AI-driven workflow, impacted by AI, obviously with humans in the loop. Yeah? Right? Cool answer, right? Cool question. Right.
MBAs are not it. MBAs who don't use AI as.
So this reads from people to packaging, from recipe to packaging and branding or something. A beer made by AI. So the whole end-to-end piece was done by AI with humans in the loop. Okay. Question number 5. Again, great story. This is the network science story. You all heard of Bridgestone? Yes. Yeah. What did Bridgestone make? Excellent, great. Bridgestone was facing a complex challenge in the commercial. Oh, by the way, who answered? Who did I say answered? These two did it. Right? I'm going to call on you for a very fun test. Are we set up for that? Yeah. For the headset? Yeah. Right. So you guys will be able to experience a very cool thing in the future. Just now. After a couple of minutes. Okay. So Bridgestone was facing a complex challenge in the commercial tire business. So if you don't know, many commercial tires can have a warranty. So warranty claims for truck tires required a large team of field engineers to manually evaluate each claim, often dealing with poor customer experience, high service costs, long approval cycles. Plus, they had an internal app, it was like a whole mess. And nothing was moving. They didn't hold the data. Massive mess was happening. How did network science use AI to turn this bottleneck into a streamlined, cost-effective operation? How would you have done it? If you have, so let me give a bit more context. These truck drivers would have to come to the dealer who the dealer who's the tire dealer, a Bridgestone certified one, to ask for a warranty, and then this guy calls Bridgestone through the app, makes them, shows them the tire, and this is the tire. 80% of the time it doesn't work. The bandwidth of the image is very, very low. It is an absolute mess. It's very, very hard to do a warranty check unless a human is going to those remote areas. Because truck drivers don't really drive in the cities all the time, right? Outside Bombay, you go on the main roads and there you'll find most of the trucks. Signal is bad. You'll have the dealers there, but you won't be able to get a major validation of what's happening. So how did we solve this problem? This is the whole context. Any ideas? Yes.
Similar to with the use case, maybe something based around taking pictures and training on the various conditions that I can see.
Very, very clever. This is something which is supposed to be the next step. You've got a couple of steps ahead. It is on the path. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Any other guess? It's a massive guess hint he's already given you. Yeah.
So, really generative AI to create multiple images from a single image and then.
Wrong text. Think about the user journey here. What is happening? Yeah. So that's what we did. Yes. But that's the question. What did we do?
So maybe like the person who wants the tire came had to just send images to the person.
Okay.
That
But this he was doing earlier as well. What was the problem?
he had to go all the way.
To take the photo. Why did he have to go? Why couldn't he just send photos?
Ensure that the key is correct.
No. What was the problem? I already mentioned the problem. Right? The bandwidth is very low. So even if you're taking a photo and sending it, it's coming in extremely degraded. How did you solve this problem? Yes.
No, that doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. It does in the actual case, but that's more specific. It's not. Someone in the back? Yeah. I'm sorry? At the user conversion of the user, so basically using the claim is taken care of at the user then also. No, you need the engineer to claim it to approve the claim. Yes.
Based on data of different types of higher problems. Can a dimension low bandwidth is sent to the layer of
That was already given. Oh, no, I'm sorry, what did you say?
whatever the low bandwidth against AI.
Okay. I'm going to give it to you. It's very, very close. It's too close to it. Brilliant, brilliant. What's the name again? That's got it. Great. Fantastic answer. Very close to the real thing. You're almost there. Can you go to the So basically what we did was we used the computer. This is called computer vision. Whole field is called computer vision. It is not GPT. It's closer to machine learning and everything. CNN, then again, not going into technicality, but so we use computer vision by developing a remote inspection tool. We developed this tool that functions seamlessly in low bandwidth. Now, when you're limited, what are your limitations? Bandwidth is a limitation, your phone is a limitation. You're actually still scanning things with your phone. So it's not like you can improve bandwidth, but you can improve what you're capturing and the speed of sending. You can slow down the speed of sending it, but take control of the camera to enhance the camera, what image it's capturing itself. You cannot do that when you're sending WhatsApp images or regular images because you cannot optimize for image capture at source. Right? So that's what we were able to do. On top of that, machine learning was applied to enhance the quality of the images. That's absolutely correct. And this is all happening real time. There is no lag. The lag is three or 4 seconds. If it takes you 3 or 4 seconds to send an image, it will be very painful for you. Right? But in that situation, where it's saving a person whole trip to Dubai, it would be already big deal. So yeah, this breakthrough not only slashed approval time, but also reduced the cost by eliminating unnecessary time. I believe that it was quite significant, the cost of travel, and also the increased capacity of people to create to solve for claims. I think it reduced it by 1/3. So 2/3 of the engineers had to be repurposed to other places. So this is a video you want to play? Yeah, that's the video. Thank you. So this is a real demo of the tech that we built.
हेलो मेरा नाम रोमी है मैं रेस्टोरेंट में ग्राहक का इंजीनियर हूँ और मुझे टायर इंस्पेक्शन करने के लिए आपकी पूरी हेल्प लगेगी मुझे पहले ये बताइए कि आपके टायर का साइज क्या है यस
So it's all very unclear, right?
टायर का साइज बोलते हैं हाँ राइट तो मुझे यहाँ पे ना शायद आपका साइज क्लियर नहीं दिख रहा है क्योंकि आपके यहाँ पे शायद नेटवर्क नहीं है तो एक सेकंड वहाँ पे आप होल्ड करके रखिए मैं पिक्चर इमेज दे रहा हूँ एक्यूरेट क्वालिटी
In this case, the engineer sitting somewhere else is taking control of the camera in that case.
तो मैं यहाँ पे मोनिश ये टायर का साइज है 205 65 R60 95 S राइट राइट ओके ग्रेट अभी मैं दूसरा मुझे पैटर्न का नाम चाहिए और यहाँ पे दिख रहा है ऊपर मुझे पैटर्न का मुझे एक इमेज देना है तो हाँ राइट तो यहाँ पे भी मुझे ब्लर दिख रहा है अभी पैटर्न तो एक सेकंड में इसका इमेज दे रहा हूँ तो ये इमेज के हिसाब से मुझे दिख रहा है ब्रिस्टल B390 का पैटर्न है राइट ये देखो यहाँ पे लिखा है B390 अभी मुझे ना इसका एक DOT चाहिए रहता है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डेट उसका एक इमेज देना है हाँ वो वहाँ पे मुझे दिखाई दे
One more very cool feature of this server.
मुझे DOT यहाँ पे मुझे यहाँ पे दिखने दे एक सेकंड में पिक्चर कर रहा हूँ
You can
actually create illustrations of the image itself.
अब मुझे यहाँ पर
Annotations for an image.
एक सेकंड मैं आपको DOT का क्या है मुझे थोड़ी कंफर्म करिए तो इसका DOT है 4WNA DAD 2317 राइट अभी हम लोग ना डैमेज का इंस्पेक्शन करेंगे तो मुझे अंदर में क्या कहाँ पे डैमेज है राइट यहाँ पे पैच लगा हुआ है एक सेकंड मैं इसका फोटो खींच रहा हूँ ठीक है इसके राइट अपोजिट साइड में ना डैमेज एग्जैक्टली कहाँ पे है ना ये मुझे देखना है ओके ठीक है ये यहाँ पे है राइट तो वहाँ पे एक होल्ड कीजिए मुझे ब्लर दिख रहा है थोड़ा मैं इसका भी इमेज है एक सेकंड राइट ये डैमेज है राइट एक सेकंड ये वाला डैमेज है ना राइट अभी मुझे सारा इंफॉर्मेशन मिल चुका है मैं मेरा डिसीजन यहाँ पे बाहर रखता हूँ थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग ऑन द कॉल थैंक यू
So it might seem like a very simple thing, but what it was doing at the back end was extremely high tech. It was really, really useful, especially where trust has to be removed from the system and actual information has to be captured. So the whole videos are recorded, the information is captured as is. It goes into your database. You can further use that for training your models, training automated training processes in the future. There's a lot that can happen with this. We have further implemented this solution in factories, renewable energy plants, and where else we have oil rigs. Oil rigs, we have implemented this in oil rigs, telemedicine. So all many places where you need a human, but the human can be far away, and it just needs clarity, is what we're solving. Yeah. Okay. Cool. You want to give show the equipment? Yeah. Just show the headset. So at the end of the whole thing, the two gentlemen were answering here and there. Sorry, I don't remember everyone's name. You'll be able to actually play around with this now. We've got the equipment for this if you want at the end. Yeah. So what Parag is really doing right now, and how you will be able to see. So you will actually, we can simulate live right now how an engineer or a person on the site and an expert sitting anywhere in the world can do this. Now, there is a very interesting case that happened, and I can't name the customer, but we were called by very large conglomerates here in India, and they said they have a very large operations. They've got big machines to be installed, and they are Chinese made, so that's where the machines are made. But for the installations, the Chinese did not get the visa to come and do it. So it had a massive problem in their operations because they had to start the operation, they had to install the machines and things like that. And they had no clue how to do it. You could use Zoom, you could use WhatsApp, but it's not what this is, right? Now, what happened was while we presented this, there was one more feature that we felt it was very critical for them. The experts are Chinese. They speak only Mandarin. The people who implement are either English or Hindi at best. Right? How do you get large complex machines? This is fine, where you can able to show, instruct, and things like that. But what if the person who's instructing is not able to communicate? So what we built on top of this platform is a natural language processing engine that now has 45 language translations real time. So anyone who sits, and this happened, the experts are in Mandarin, speaking in Mandarin. The person on site, who's not a trained person, understands in Hindi or in English, and that communicates the same way, real time, the way you see right. So you can actually see it. The two winners will get to see it and experience it, and you can actually simulate a particular scenario for you. We'll do the test at the end. Yeah. Okay. Again, one of my pet favorites. The reason it's my favorite is the impact. Have you heard of Google DeepMind? Show of hands. Google DeepMind. You've heard of it? Yes. Do you know what they do? Yeah, they made AlphaZero. Correct. They made Google DeepMind made AlphaZero. Great. So they are basically the company that was started more than a decade ago, but Google bought it in 2014. It is an AI shop. Just take it as an AI shop. Only the things that they're doing with AI are insane, absolutely insane. They are working on computations which can probably run Bombay. That heavy computation that they work on. But the impact of their work is what is the next one? So AlphaFold is a Google healthcare program started by DeepMind, which was taking on the tedious task of mapping protein structures. Over the last year, with the new version of AlphaFold, they managed to achieve a feat previously thought impossible. What was that incredible feat? Keep in mind, this is a ridiculous thing. So when you are thinking of, nahi yaar, ye nahi ho sakta, go beyond that. It is that ridiculous. Yes.
Is this related to genetic?
Yes, very much.
So by mapping protein structure properly, they use the RNA and DNA of species to recreate how they
Recreate what?
extinct species.
Extinct species. Okay, very, very interesting. Anyone else? That's one of the things you can do with this, but that's like literally like 0.1% over the scale. And I'm not even exaggerating. Yes.
Improving defective genes.
Defective genes, you could possibly do that. Again, 0.1%. I'm sorry? Can you talk a bit more about that? What do they do? What do they were studying protein structure. What did they end up? What is this feat that they do? What is that insane, that milestone? When Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, after that, every year somebody was breaking the 4-minute mile. What was that? What do they do now, which is just insane?
Maybe creating deep structure or maybe simulate.
Barely 0.1%, not even what they did. Yes.
Antibodies and vaccines. No antibodies and vaccines.
That would be built on top of what they did. Everything that you're saying they did, they built the base for and beyond. What did they do? I'm here almost giving you the answer in the back. Can you elaborate this one?
From starting of regularly
For what? For whom?
for our better
Not for what? Animals, humans, plants, what? Sorry? Humans, more than drugs. I'm sorry?
Basically,
He has an extension. You have an extension?
yes.
Yeah, please. For whom you asked? Yeah. For every species. So they did genome mapping for every species. So that is literally this part. They did this is the first part, mapping protein structure. They map, this is the last December, by the way. They map every single known protein structure. The question now is, what do they do after? Which is even more insane. Yes. No. Again, I'm talking about incredible speed. So there is a fundamental baseline that they reached. It's like, imagine somebody coming up and saying, okay, I have figured out physics. It's that one. Yeah.
Maybe restructure the structure in such a way that maybe this species, this quantity is very famous, so it will be here.
So let me give you, I don't think people are getting the scale of this. This is so wide. So what they did, so these protein structures, keep in mind, these proteins, people know what these proteins are, the formula. But to create a 3D of the structure is what you need, because the 3-dimensional view of the structure gives you how it will interact with anything. Whether other proteins or drugs or whatever. So everything that you are saying fits in that. They already achieved that in December for every protein structure. Known for all humans, animals, and plants. For every living organism, they figured out every protein structure. They have have surpassed that to another level now. What have they done? I love the thought, but no. Yeah? That was December. Already all finished. Old history. Again, this is something that we built on top of this. They built a fundamental layer inside. What do they do?
Sandeep said they figured this out last December. We cumulated the data and found the popularity.
Okay, they would have already done the accumulation in by December. What else is in your body apart from protein? What else goes in your body? The RNA is partly of these structure, protein structure.
So my
They are minerals. There are other structures which are non-protein. Yes. I'm sorry. Amino acid is protein. Organs in the lab is being handled. I'm sorry? Building muscles requires gym. Extend your answer even more. Forget neurons. Extend what you're saying even more to an insane level. That's what they've done. Exactly. So it's not just humans. Every life particle now, every life molecule, protein is a complex structure. They have gone down to molecular level of being able to create the 3D versions of every life molecule that is known in nature. So now, if you have to find something that they don't know the structure of, they have to go digging in places where they have never encountered something. If you go to Mars and find life traces, they have found, and this is the insanity of it. Each of these structures, some of these protein structure chains of 5,000 amino acids now. It used to take 6 to 8 months at time to create a single 3D. This is a 4-year cycle. In 3 years, they mapped every single protein. In another year, they mapped every single life molecule. And they did that all using machine learning. It is all using machine learning. It is an insane feat. It is redefining science. Your pharmaceutical world will never work the way it will work. Your cosmetics are never going to work. Your biological systems are never going to work. CAD integrated. CAD. It's machine learning, man. CAD is actually creating the whole thing. Okay. I don't know what the. Analyzing the DNA ligand messaging. I'm not aware of the visualization software, but I feel it is a lot more complex. I've seen some of this is a sample image. I don't think this is very easily creatable on CAD. It's probably creatable, but it is extremely down to this recently a Harvard lab just created the image of the brain, which is 140 terabytes, a single image. That's because they slice the brain into 5,000 segments and they map every single neuron there. So they are reaching this level of sophistication with machine learning. And keep in mind, this is all based on the 5 principles that we talked about in the beginning. The 5 basic LUTCS principles that people are reaching with these levels. Yeah? Awesome, very good. Fantastic response. Okay, again, great question because this is network science. This is one of my clients. So, ELP, have you guys heard of law firms in India? Names of law firms in India? No, mostly, it's not a very common thing. The Amarchans and all that, right? So, but ELP is one of the top 10 largest law firms in the country. One of the largest law firms in Asia, in fact. Very, very powerful. One of India's top 10 legal firms is facing an existential crisis due to generative AI. How did they turn this existential crisis into a major advantage? Right? Is AI a villain for legal firms? It can be turned into a hero. But how did they basically convert AI into an advantage? I'll tell you the first conversation I had with one of the reddies. He comes up to me and says, "How are you putting me out of the job?" That was the first conversation we had. And as you guys want to career, move in your career, these are conversations you're also going to have. Your boss is asking you, how are you putting me out of the job? So yeah, they had a very strong realization about it. What did they do to convert this fear into an advantage?
Or with solving cases for them, the legal cases for them, better than the people did or suggesting things. So they probably implemented it to their advantage by using that tech to give better info.
Can you give me a slightly better one? You're almost there. You're almost there. If you can't, I'll give it to you, but I want slightly better. You're almost there. Okay.
In the law firm, all the case, they would probably take reference from the whenever the case has been done, for example, 20 or 25 years back. So we should feed it into that system, and if we get a similar case on that context, so that AI would generate a similar example.
I'm going to combine both responses. That's the full answer. That's fantastic. Yes. So what we did was we did implement the Gemini chatbot for them, but what it was doing was very different. We created a private environment for them using it for a lot of different applications, and trained the telecom data on their own cases and external cases, obviously, and put a context slip. We talked about context, right? In Gen AI, when you're creating private Gen AI agents, you have to create your own content. Gen AI on its own will never be better than God. But if you give it a standard and you give it the best standard to live up to, and if you keep training it on it, it will start beating the best. It starts beating the backbone responsibility. So that's what we did. Now the lawyers are using, I think, 3 applications now. Third one is just going to be deployed soon, where they're actually using for creating court petitions, for reviewing documents, for contracts. These are like 150, 200 page documents. Gen AI is learned their responses and is doing edits on Microsoft Word itself and giving them an output which they would have created. And we are already hitting within like a 2-month period, creating 60 or 70% accuracy. Another month or two, we'll probably hit 80-90%.
And one important piece that I think we are missing on, we should not ignore, the word private. ChatGPT, while it is a fantastic platform and a lot of people can use, even the lawyers can use today, right? Because you give it the content. But whatever you write into ChatGPT or you upload documents on ChatGPT, they'll no longer remain your documents. They are now available for everyone and anyone to use. So you can't call it by your, and hence confidentiality, which is the biggest challenge in a law firm. Imagine you are helping the client fight a battle, and you are uploading the documents on ChatGPT, and it's all gone, right? So what has happened is you created a private LLM, which means it reads from the internet, it reads from the code sources or the public sources that are available, but it doesn't write into it. So we use it for our advantage. And we remove the disadvantage of it writing and hence confidentiality. So that's the power of creating this. And imagine for a law firm where 60% of your human effort is now taken away. Suddenly your efficiency is tremendous in all this.
All right, great. Last question of the night. Everyone geared up? Oh, yeah. Okay, really fun. How many bankers in the room? Future bankers? Okay, I expect one of you to answer this one. Great. So Morgan Stanley has prototyped and instituted a new tool for their wealth management and financial advisory systems. Financial advisory, something you guys are interested in? Yes. Yeah, great. So they've instituted a new tool with the aim to reduce anywhere between 10 and 30 hours of effort per month, right? So I'll give you the impact of what this tool is expected to have. The tool's gone live just 2 months back. I'll give you the impact of what this tool is supposed to have. It's supposed to save Morgan Stanley $20 million in the year, going up exponentially higher the more people use it in subsequent years.
What is the cost of this? We talking all the time about the savings. What about the investment?
Right. So it is, yes, there is a high investment, but the return is,
Some
But-
ballpark.
yeah.
That's for us to know.
Yeah, sure.
Go that.
So that's a good.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do before I give you a direct answer is we create a business case for every AI program that has to work. And that business case is the reason why companies sign off whether they will do it or not. Right? The business case is tangible business case. You can't say it will improve efficiency, it will improve productivity. It doesn't work. In corporate world, those jargons don't work, right? You have to sign on the dotted line. What will it do for me? So that percentage of, I invest. So the investment in a tool like this is close to about $2.5 million, which potential of it is $150 million. So over a period of time, of course, it will not happen overnight, right? So the investment is $2.5 million, and then it will give you 20 odd million in possibly the first year. Sometimes you get the ROI in the first year itself. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, but in the AI world, it is a bit faster these days. So in the earlier case, it used to be 3-year ROIs. We used to be very happy with the 3-year ROI. In the AI world, we're actually talking big and fast ROI. So it's much faster, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 8 months. So that's what these numbers are.
Time value of money also should be included.
Correct.
It
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So back to the question, what did they do? What do they do? Okay, what do you need to be a financial advisor? What kind of information do you need to be a financial advisor? Anyone? Yes.
To know about the company in which industry does it operate or what company does.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Financial statement.
Okay, good. What else?
To just work.
Excellent, great. Go on. What else?
To know its competitors.
Yes. It also needs its own strategy of how it's going to. Right, so this is all big, right? This is a big focus of data now.
But what about market sentiment, which keeps shifting?
Market sentiments keep shifting, but how do you get market sentiment?
That's why I'm asking how can we include it in this, when you
So,
offer a solution.
So these are the early days of AI where only part of it is automated. This is also going to be incorporated somewhere. It is as of now, as far as I know, not included in the information of corporate.
That is the human intervention is still needed for taking decisions, right?
As of today, but now that you're saying it, I already have a way in my mind how I would integrate. And we have done that particular piece in some other context, which I'll give you after this. Yeah. Anyone else? How did they solve this problem? How did they? Yes. Can you extend it slightly a little bit more? Oh, there's one particular word I'm looking for. Because it's not like every financial advisor is going to be the same, right? It's not like what you're saying is what a company bot would do, that it would create a report for, right? What extend this a little further. Sure. Yes.
Is it about understanding the basic needs of the kind of?
No, that's going to be part of this process that we're talking about. And it need not be included right now, but it probably is. I'm not aware of this. Anyone else? No, they're already tools. So you guys are saying from a tool that already exists. Right? This is something that's new in the depth. Yes.
Predict market trends.
Predict market trends would probably be part of the tool. Small part of it. You were almost there. You were almost at the end.
Like how the Myntra website is done it, These people will do whatever analysis they find, the external analysis of the customer. And then they will align it with the kind of investment opportunities they are creating. So that you get a customized solution, but then you improve your sales.
Right. I'm literally looking everything you're saying, 99%. I'm looking for one more word. One more word, yes. And that word is very critical in the commercialization of AI.
Along with the trend and the sector rotation or the cyclical change in the sector, They also provide a peer-to-peer comparison of the components.
All that's included. All that if it's not included today, it'll be included later. Don't worry about the data, guys. Data they do. Once there is data, it's even in pocket. It's just about creativity. But the creativity in the system that was created for this is what I'm asking. What did they do?
Creating or scoring system.
So basically, it helped in how much to invest, when to invest, so as to maximize.
All those again, we're talking data. If data is already known.
No. Extending for his answers, so maybe they record the interactions we have with the client.
Sure. So okay, good. Let's stick to this one point. If they're recording the interactions with their client, is that going into like a one company bot? Where is it going? Where is that training going? You're recording, and that's what I was looking for. They created private AI bot for 16,000 financial advisors. 16,000 financial. Now it might be the same bot to start with. A month later, each of those would be a completely different bot, because all financial advisors are focused on different industries. They're focused on different. They have different CRM implementations. So they upload whatever information they're going out, how you're recording your interactional business, what is actually doing. So brilliant response. Two people who win this question, fantastic. Right? Yes. Yeah.
It's a part of it.
Yeah.
This global is actually helping him to
Yeah, absolutely great.
So my question is that the cost of installing these robots are also getting the part of their CPC.
Of course. Every interact, I don't know the exact number, but I think they were doing every individual on average is doing 500 meetings in a year. 500 of 4. So roughly around 1.5 to 2 meetings a day. It's taking 30 minutes per interaction. So the meetings are long, you have to go through a lot of data, you have to study a lot of the data. Of course, they had studied beforehand, but now they don't have to go through every single piece. Their bot will summarize things for them, prompt. So the image shown for this was a gentleman sitting with a computer on the side and the client in front. And whatever the client is saying is getting recorded here, and it's a computer prompted. That was the joke image that was created. So it is actually reducing a ton of human effort. It's creating the value prop for every individual financial advisor by now. Yeah. Great.
And to the point that you made about sentiment analysis, whether it does, takes what kind of data and all that. We have a very interesting implementation that we've done here in India for a financial institution, where in the COVID times they had a big challenge. Like all of us have loans, home loans, personal loans. While giving loans, there's so much of KYC that happens. Like KYC checks whether I should give the loan. Sometimes the interest rate issue, sometimes they can't give you the loans. If you're a startup like us, no guy wants to give us loans. Right? So all of that happens. Now, when that is the situation, what happens when the loan is given? There is no analytics that happens in the predictive way once the loan is given. Each one of us has to pay in advance, pay every month. No one knows whether you pay on time or not.
No past data is
No past data is available, but it is not used for doing any analysis. So what happens is there is no warning system available. So what we have done is we've created an early warning system for a financial institution that every month, 10 days in advance, it will tell you across 30 million customers who will pay on time and who will not.
As in accessing their credit or the
It is accessing their ability to pay and willingness to pay. Looking at not only their history of within the bank, but also looking at their social media. So it connects to your social media. It's actually reading into your Facebook, it's reading into your Twitter, it's reading into your Instagram. So it knows, oh, you went to Paris just now. How is it that you can't pay the bills for us? Right? So that's the ability that the system now has. So it is also doing demographic analysis, it is doing sentiment analysis. So when someone calls a call center and says, I've lost my job, how does that voice gets moved into a score that is used to give a probability score for every month, looking at all kinds of things. That is what the engine is currently doing. Yes, right.
Yeah, I think we're almost out of time.
So now one question. A very general question, but I think it's very necessary, very needed. Like you said that we can assess the credit worthiness of a client. When I say credit worthiness, both desire and ability.
Yeah.
How can we use the deep technology to enforce the ethics?
Enforce ethics.
Yes. Because by the technology itself, the frauds which are coming, I'm not even talking about. In general, the lack of ethics, which impacts the business decisions a lot, within, outside, for the stakeholders within the business, outside the business. How can, is there any way where you can use it in advantages?
It's a very, very new field. Very, very new field. Currently, ethics, there are two ways. There is an AI in ethics, or we call it an ethical AI, which looks at moral bias. So what is right for me is different for you and me.
Yes.
And then there is another field called responsible AI. Now, ethical AI is all about individuality. What I see is right, you may see is wrong. And there is no way for me to control that. But responsible AI is about controlling it through guidelines. So there are governments which are now coming up with guidelines of what is right and what is wrong.
For their kingdoms.
For their individual countries. And that is a very critical way forward. So some of you who are moving in the AI world, responsible AI as a field could be a great way to say, I will audit or control or check whether there is any bias in the system or not. That is being done. That responsible AI as a field is new field. A lot of countries have started to come out with acts. The first country or a region that came out with an act around it is European Union. They launched something called as EU Act or AI Act by EU Parliament. It was just passed about 2 months back. It's coming up into effect next year, which means they will certify everything that is going into AI systems for all companies to say whether it has bias or not. But it's still a limited field because guidelines cannot cover every single aspect of ethics.
I think that's what you say makes so much sense because whenever we say technology, we say garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So whatever is going inside of an input information within an organization, within a country, or within an industry, if that is guided through ethics, the expected outcomes will be ethical.
Yeah.
Right?
But ma'am, that's the whole point, right? Ethics is so vast and so different and so personalized.
Yes.
What is ethical for European Union may not be so for India, or what is ethical for India may not be so for US. And hence, what the countries are now doing is saying, hey, we don't want to get into the whole gamut of ethics. We want to look at what guidelines you want to create to make sure that these guidelines are at least met. That it is by design that. So it's an evolving field, still lots to
Yeah. First, before we close, all people who gave correct answers, please stand up for a second.
No one standing up.
Yeah, even if you give part correct answers, please. Yes, round of applause for all of them. Thank you, Mukul. You should stand up. You gave Microsoft 50 project. Brilliant. So, thank you guys so much. It was wonderful engaging with you. We actually had a whole another section after this, but we're going to have to get a review. I'm going to ask you to completely come up with ideas of how you build the AI workflows for a full CPG company. But obviously, there's a whole day of workshop that you could possibly do. But for now, I think.
Yeah, so guys, thank you very much. And we have the two winners. We have you guys can come over after this, after we close. You are also welcome, all of you, to visit our office. We are not very far, but on the other side of the town, which is in Goregaon. So please come over. We'll organize, if at all you are interested to, I mean, in the AI world, everything is online. So we don't have anything.
Arrange industry visits.
Sure. Yeah, but in our office, it's just an office. We don't have much to show. Everything is online. But you could meet with Nikhil, his team, the others, can interact. We'll do some workshop around that. We will also, as promised, if you are interested, all of you get a chance to apply for internships in our company. Again, there's some special projects that Nikhil and team has. We're very happy to offer that to you guys. And we hope that together we can create something magical and something very new. So that's it.
One small thing, keep in mind your answers, because to qualify as someone who's going to directly for the interview, you have to just put, I gave this answer, and very sure. Yeah. So just remember the answer. Also, I hope we've given you a few rabbit holes to go down, and actually experience what AI, some stories of AI, really fun things out there. Some of them read like mystery novels. You should actually look them up.
Thank you, guys. It was wonderful having you all.
Questions by the online attending.
Yeah. All the audience here.
I know it's late, 9 p.m. on a Friday. Yeah.
You are giving your time free. We are getting more than what we are getting.
Any more questions, clarifications? Anyone who doesn't agree with us has a very different view.
Keep in mind, even Sandy and I don't agree on
all the time.
That will be human intelligence.
We have a very different line of thought. I think AI will take over, and what was that point that my friend made? And he says, no, we will control it. So we have a very different view. Nothing? All good? Did we make sense?
Yes. We put up science and all alphabet too, but no, let them do it. Let them do that. So what I want to say is that I can only talk about myself. I think in a long time I had a engaging lecture where I think every minute there was something for me to learn. You both were amazing, and I don't know, but somehow listening to you, I was feeling really illiterate. So I do realize the need to learn and to update, and so I might end up connecting with both of you. Okay, to mentor me on many things that might come across, and that those would be useful for me professionally. So, shall I call upon you?
Of course.
Yes.
And there's nothing of that sort. But the interesting thing right now is the entire industry is in the formation stage, right? And we are all learning every day. So we are just sharing what we have learned, right? So it's not like we know something and we want to share, because there is by equal. This is a shared learning way that we will grow at. One last thing, we all know the IT industry. Right? Everyone who all wants to work for the IT companies. IT industry, the IBMs, the HCL, the Wipros, the Infosys. Some of you, great, right? Just one last stat. How much is the total IT spent globally? Just one number. Any number? What is the total, if you put all the companies of IT put together, how much will be the total spend or total revenues? Come on, give me a number, 10 trillion. Okay, anyone more or less 10, any new number? 5 trillion? 5 trillion. Sorry. You're going in the trillion. Okay, brilliant. Good. At least you're starting in the right way. So currently is around $2.5 billion. It is expected to grow to close to about $6 odd trillion in the next 10 years. But it has taken 60 years for it to go from zero to $2.5 trillion. 60 years. AI, which started only about 4 years back, almost zero revenues, is expected to grow to $7 trillion only in the next 5 years. So what took 60 years for one division that we are so passionate about, AI will surpass it just in the next 3-4 years. That's the industry that we are all hopefully part of.
Yes, that doesn't mean IT is not important.
No, IT is
It's infrastructure.
Yeah, IT is
Not to discourage anything.
no discouragement, but IT is going to get disrupted with time. Yes, thank you guys.
So let me do the.
Sandeep sir, Hardikar sir, thank you so much for the insightful and fun session. And I think one of the most engaging sessions we all had. And sir, I must admit, I have myself been in the last venture.
Yeah.
And in the session, so far in 1 hour, I don't know. But this session has been going on, and still I can see the last benchers are equally wide awake and enthusiastic at those benches. So it reflects how fun the session was. Thank you so much. And just in a small gesture, I would like to call upon Chaya ma'am to present you a small token of appreciation from our side.
We don't need all this.
Yeah. I can do happy first. Let's know what happy position. I mean, I appreciate it. That's amazing. That's lovely.
Nikhil,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that's very good. Come.
Bhubaneswaran.
She's a superwoman, by the way.
Yes.
He's nominated as a finalist for a very big award.
Yeah.
And the awards are expected to, the finalists will be announced on the 19th. Hopefully, she will get that.
We'll do bigger with you.
Right. Some of the projects that we saw were actually Parag's projects.
Yeah.
He won it for us. And we're also very proud of him because he's also now a flag bearer to Dubai. He is launching our Dubai operations. And
In a big way. We already had just DDs and proposals right.
thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I would like to thank the entire